Hear more, listen to the podcast. Just search for Hancock and Kelly.
Missouri Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft makes it official he wants to be the next governor.
People are talking about Texas, they're talking about Florida, they're talking about Tennessee, and Missouri should be the conservative bastion that's showing people how to live in freedom, how to unleash the potential of the people of Missouri in this country. That's why I'm running for governor, to be the leader to do that.
Ashcroft joins Republican Lieutenant Governor Mike Kehoe in the race for the Republican nomination. His father served 2 terms as governor before serving as a U.S. Senator and then U.S. Attorney General. Jay Ashcroft has recently made headlines for trying to change state rules to prevent libraries from offering materials that he says appeal to the prurient interest of minors. Critics call it a book ban. Michael, what are his chances of becoming Missouri's next governor?
Well, I hope not good. He's got a problem with the Republican Party. Is there a more emblematic name of the Republican Party in Missouri than the Ashcroft name? Jay Ashcroft embodies who the Republicans are. If he's upset with the direction things are going, he's the problem. And for those of us who are sick of the backward nature of the Republican Party, putting Jay Ashcroft in there is going to have doomsday outcomes here in the state. We're going to continue to go backwards.
If this is about name recognition, doesn't Jay Ashcroft have a big advantage over Kehoe?
He does. And for disclosure, I'm working for Mike Kehoe. So
all right.
I don't want to say too much here. There's going to be a primary. It's probably going to be a 3-way primary. Bill Eigel, the state senator, is likely to get into this thing. And I will say this, whoever wins that primary is going to be the next governor of Missouri.
The size of the St. Louis Board of Aldermen has just been chopped in half. Tuesday's elections consolidated the city's 28 wards into just 14. In doing so, voters gave progressive Democrats a slim majority on a board where every member is a Democrat. The progressive board joins progressive Mayor Tashara Jones and the progressive board president, Megan Green. Our quote of the week is from the board president, Megan Green, who told the Post-Dispatch that election night was a good night. The future of the city is progressive. Michael, how are progressive Democrats different from the rest of the party, and is having them in control good for St. Louis?
Well, 2 things happened on election night. Number 1 is we cut the Board of Aldermen in half. That was a good thing. It should be cut in half again. It's still too big. The second thing is Megan Green said it right there. This city is owned and operated wholly by progressives. Progressives have a different school of thought than traditional Democrats. They believe government should play a larger role in dealing with homelessness and other issues, but turning their backs on it as it relates to crime and incentives that actually grow a region. We're all in on progressives in the city of St. Louis. It's not where I'm at, but it's where the voters of the city of St. Louis are. I don't know. If you want a different outcome, you've got to do things differently. We continue to see progressives there, and things don't seem to be changing much.
They're not all lockstep. I mean, certain aldermen are considered progressive, but they don't all march to the same beat necessarily.
Well, pretty much. I mean, but it's where a majority of 18% of the electorate are, to be more accurate. And, we're going to all get a good lesson in socialism here and whether it works or not, because it's going to be implemented in St. Louis. I don't look optimistically for this. And they've done the same thing in Chicago now. So we're going to have plenty of examples of what this will wrought for us.
18% turnout. That's the off-year election.
And when people complain about Kim Gardner or the direction the city's going, or the fact that they got $1 billion of our money that the federal government sent there and it's not being spent, they can blame the 18% or the progressive majority.
Still to come on Hancock and Kelly, the backlash against St. Louis's most recognizable company, Anheuser-Busch, over a new Bud Light Trans can.